Yep.
Hello everyone, welcome to another video with OK Student. My name's Nick Cuthbert, the director of the UK OK Student office, and I'm with Martin here.
Hey guys, how are you? Yeah, Martin over here, working with OK Student as well, in marketing and operations. So yeah, I mean our weekly slot, and I think it's 12th in a row now.
12th in a row. For new people, we do this every Friday, do a live video and talk about a topical subject, try and shed some light on what's happening, and take questions from people. So if you're watching this live, please feel free to send in comments or questions and we can answer it live.
And if you're watching it afterwards, definitely check out our previous lives. I think we've discussed pretty much everything now, like working in the UK, how to apply to the universities. What else? We discussed study bubbles, or how the COVID is going to affect universities in September, October, November.
There's been lots of COVID chat, definitely.
Especially lately, yeah. But there's been obviously a lot of other and really useful, like how to have a good CV, how to work on your personal branding. So tons of stuff we've done previously. So definitely check us out on YouTube.
Check it out, definitely. We are a mixture of students, current students and alumni, and professionals who've worked in universities or in the industry for a number of years. So really, we're just here to give good advice and support on applications or scholarships. So yeah, check it out and get in touch if you need help. So today we're talking about.
So yeah, I mean, today's topic is all about gap year. So is the best time now to go for a gap year, or is actually the worst time for a gap year? So I think the way we are planning to structure it is we just let's just, I think, discuss like different benefits that taking a gap year has, and then just discuss whether it still is as good during the obvious COVID time now.
Yeah, this is topical this week because it was the UCAS deadline for decisions. So if you were holding an offer that was made on time during the year, you had a deadline this week to kind of respond to those offers to decide if you want to take up your university place. And so lots of students and families have been discussing the idea of, is this the good time to take a gap year or a bad time to take a gap year? I've heard it described as the gap year from hell. Yeah. But I also know that many students have reservations about the university experience this year. So we can discuss both sides of this.
So yeah, I mean, let's just, I mean, first of all, go through like why people generally take a gap year. So I think one of the key ones, or maybe the most not important ones, but generally, I think quite often, like high school students, they still, I think, don't know what they really want to do in life or what they want to study, and maybe they take a gap year to kind of find out more about themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's an element of study fatigue where people have been studying really hard for many, many years through high school, through college system, and kind of taking their final exams, putting everything into it, and then feeling exhausted. And the prospect of going straight to university for another 3 or 4 years is too much. So they want to have a break before they do that. And you get many parents who have lived through this and gone into careers and worked very hard. They really encourage their children to have a gap whilst they're young, to have the opportunity to discover themselves, to to travel, to experience the world before they take on more responsibility.
Because what one could argue is that, like, when you're young, it's probably the best time to kind of take risks because you don't have too much of like baggage to carry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you basically, a great time to have fun, do things before you look like this. So, yeah. So also, I think this is a cultural thing in history, isn't it? I think like the Aboriginal kind of walkabout, you know about this? Are you taking a transition from boy to man? You're going on a walkabout, you come back ready for adult life. I think other cultures have it as well. In Norway, Scandinavian model is kind of having this a kind of gap year to explore more of the things that interest you, whether that's traveling or different subjects before you move into higher study.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because obviously, I mean, having friends and like knowing people, like people have like very different opinions about gap year, because I've gotten like a couple of very like strong opinions about gap year, like not being a good thing, because some people might like look bad on it, like, hey, like you just want to do like silly stuff for a year and like not continue your studies. How have you find that? Like, do you have you heard that kind of opinions as well?
Yes, there is a big trend in the UK for many students to travel around the world for 6 months to a year as this gap year kind of idea. But in my experience, the ones that treat it as a holiday, so they have a year-long holiday, they've really struggled to get back into life, to get back into responsibility, to studying, to managing their time. And let's face it, you know, life's not a beach. When you come back, it's not the same as being on holiday. That life can't be like that. So while it's an amazing opportunity, some students definitely struggle to transition back having experienced that. The ones who do it very well blend travel and work experience, and also meeting people, connections, and ideas in terms of their own business ideas, pulling things they see from all over the world and then applying it to their own.
Yeah, that's a good point. That like having that year off and feeling the kind of ease of life and seeing how fun and cool everything is, you kind of can be surprised when you come back. But basically, I think my question came from more of like outside world point of view. That do you reckon that some not like employers, but like, I don't know, like not universities either, but do you think some people could look a bit differently a person who's just like traveled for a year, or not really?
No, I think there is a lot of good things about taking that decision, about being independent and managing that experience and that time, about seeing the benefits you get from the experience, that are all major assets to your CV, to your university selection, lots of things. There's lots and lots of positives about a gap year.
I fully agree. It's why I'm asking is that actually, from my personal experience, I've heard like maybe a bit like older generation looking at it a bit the way that, oh, you didn't want to continue your studies and you maybe weren't good enough to get into the university you wanted, and then you just went to the wide world. But yeah, I mean, I fully agree with your opinion as well, that it's an amazing experience, and if kind of utilized well, it just gives you competitive advantage in like even in business life.
Yeah, there is a case for saying that you're falling behind your peer group, that you lose a year, but
or you gain a year.
Yeah, or you get a year. Well, the kind of applicants that we often give advice to are students studying abroad. So thinking about the UK as a study abroad destination. So in reverse in this aspect, and actually they're doing an amazing thing of combining overseas travel and experience and adventure with study, and really getting the best of all those worlds. So yeah, students studying abroad are combining the two, so they often don't really want to think about this idea of a gap year, whereas British students, they want to travel, but then they usually want to study here in the UK.
But like, I mean, there is tons you can do during traveling, isn't there? That, I mean, you can potentially study when you're traveling, with some online courses. You can gain some really good relevant work experience. And yeah, I mean, I think traveling shouldn't like limit itself by like just traveling.
We're connected, aren't we? We're connected by the internet wherever we are. I guess some internet is kind of connection is stronger in some places than others. But yeah, that's
metaphorically speaking.
yeah, I think, but this is it's a good design for life. If you read things like Tim Ferriss books, things like that about entrepreneurialism, there's a lot of ideas about being flexible on where you're actually working from physically, but still being connected to different global markets.
Kind of nomad life.
Yeah, nomad. Yeah, basing yourself in low-cost places or places that have benefits, but doing business in other places. So you can get into that idea.
Rethink my life.
Yeah, you're going to relocate. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you can start to learn whilst traveling, what a great skill. You can certainly do business whilst traveling.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're drifting away from the gap year a bit now, but
it is. Yeah. And this brings us to a major point, which probably anybody who's watching this would be saying, but will we be able to travel in a gap year?
Yeah.
This is why it's the gap year from hell, because actually at the moment there's flight restrictions, there's quarantine, there's high cost of travel, and there's always the chance you're going to get stranded somewhere across the world and not get back easily. So lots of people are very concerned about that idea, and it's just not practical to think that you're going to be able to travel so freely as before in the next year or two even. So yeah, we need to be cautious about this. Traveling freely, like backpacking and things like that, is we can't pretend that is going to be as easy as it once was.
Yeah. And I mean, now you have to have the second backpack for gloves and like different cleaning wipes and like all of the kit, how to stay safe in this crazy world now.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of changes of mask.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it looks like, in terms of a university perspective, universities are going to open in the autumn, and so and travel is going to open up, or is opening up, across the summer slowly. But flights are taking place again, or we hope. And yeah, so both options are there. Studying abroad looks like it's going to be on the table, still possible. But in theory, it also means that traveling and traveling to certain locations, maybe not across different borders so frequently, but travel is still possible, but maybe in smaller, like singular trips.
So from a high school student perspective, then, as I understand, then there is two options now, right? You can either wait the whole year and apply for the next intake, right? Or there is, I'm not sure how the regulations are with the universities now, but I'm assuming there is option to defer your study a year.
Yeah. So students usually who've met their requirements, who've accepted a choice, the university will defer for 1 year. These are unusual times, and the university will be weighing up, how many students want to take that decision, and it makes sense that they might actually start restricting that choice, because it's not just that the course might not be viable if everybody defers this year. Yeah. It's actually the problem of next year, where you have not only this year group deferring into that year, but you have the year group who's naturally progressing. So in theory, next year is going to be very, very selective, because the competition will be high, almost double for those places, depending on the deferral rate this year.
Yeah. How
So
how can universities have a say in that? Do they just have like a regulation that you're unable to defer, or?
well, universities manage their entry requirements on a yearly basis.
Oh yeah,
So
we've
yeah,
actually discussed it
we've discussed it before. Check out
Yeah.
previous video. And yeah, so they have the ability to change the requirements each year, one cycle to the next. And so they can, in theory, say, well, it's much harder to get in next year because we know there's going to be a lot more people. So they have some powers to do this. The Office for Students and other kind of regulation bodies will be looking at the student rights and what's fair and what's justifiable. And some universities have put it out there as an idea, but I haven't seen anybody enforcing it at the moment.
Okay.
So yes, so you do have a choice to talk to your university about deferring or reapplying next year, but in the understanding that maybe the entry content
might be different.
Yeah, will be higher and harder to get a place. So we would still encourage people to take up their places this year because the universities are preparing for you and taking all the measures to make it the best possible experience.
Of course.
The other part, which we haven't touched here, is for a gap year, is work experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, where to start from? Like, I mean, of course, it is possible to have work experience during studying as well, but I would guess it's way much easier to work when you're not studying at the course or you're not at the university. So I would say that, yeah, I mean, from the work experience point of view, taking a gap year is amazing because you just have so much opportunity to test different things and kind of find out more about what you like. Like, I mean, you can easily like end up getting like virtual internship and doing. I mean, for like even like I studied marketing myself, and marketing is actually really, or marketing advertising is really like kind of wide area. I think initially I wanted to study PR because PR just sounded cool, and yeah, I mean, public relations, really like fancy kind of course. And then I ended up doing business management and marketing, but like for me it kind of happened really randomly. But in theory, throughout that work experience, you can actually learn more about yourself and maybe end up doing like one of the, I don't know, being a PR intern and finding out that PR is not what you want to do, and then kind of take PR out of your options.
Yeah.
So
it's a common theme of someone in a high school class can't really have the perspective of what different jobs are. You know, they know a general marketing job or a general advertising job, but they don't really understand the different components there and the different types of career path. And so you're right, if they can gain some experience, then they can usually focus on things that they really like in that experience and then train for that profession.
Because the whole life is kind of about testing and learning from testing. And unfortunately, I mean, you can change your course, of course, but university courses generally are 3 or 4 years, meaning that you're signing up for like a kind of long road ahead of you. But yeah, I mean, work experience is literally the best way to find out what you like. I mean, marketing wise, I can always talk about my own experience. Like, I've always known that I do like marketing, but even marketing has like so many different subcategories. And I've interned personally. I've done like e-commerce marketing. I've done events management. I've done kind of just like advertising side of like all the Facebook and Instagram ads. I've done like B2B in a business, and literally I think 3 out of those 4 I don't really like that much. And I wouldn't have ever known that I'm not that big of a fan of e-commerce if I hadn't tried.
Yeah, it's a broad understanding, but you also understand how all of these things fit together.
True.
You just you just have a better understanding as well of what you want to spend your time on in the future, what gets you excited about it, and what things that your skills kind of lend themselves to.
Yeah.
So yeah, experience is so valuable. We've seen in terms of getting a job, a graduate career, you know, actually work experience is as important as your degree. So any degree that matches those experiences alongside the teaching or those opportunities is you should really seriously look at, because those things are so valuable. But I'm going back to gap year from hell, dun, 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 because I mean, we've seen the economy is going to shrink globally. Lots of students are on LinkedIn, you know, with horrible stories about them losing placements, and I really feel for them. It's a really tough year. And so people will be saying, in a gap year where we want work experience, are there opportunities out there?
There is so many opportunities out there. So what's so unfortunate about this kind of world we live in is that very often the 1% of negative is so much louder than all of the good and positive. You hear all of those stories, people not getting their internships. You hear all of the stories of companies going under, letting people go. But it's just the minority of the whole system. Like, there's so much good, so many students are getting internships, jobs. World is reacting to the current situation. There is different types of online internships. You can be intern for a week only, 2 weeks only. We know, I mean, a videographer for my team is doing, I think, Grads for Knots project. So he's part of a company for 2 weeks and just gaining extra experience from there. Another student who worked with us, I think he's doing like 3 or 4 day internship and working with big brands. So yeah, I think it's important to realize that, like, yeah, there is so much good happening, and it's all about how much you kind of want it. Because what's really good about like this digital age, and especially the COVID time as well, because we're all online now, is we have this device 24/7 with us, and nothing is really stopping you, like messaging people. Like, I mean, we get a lot of LinkedIn messages, emails, like almost like weekly or daily now, like of students wanting to work with us, because we are empowering students, and we basically, we run on students. But
yeah, you're right.
It's so many opportunities we have given them, and literally sometimes by only emailing us, and
we are always looking for good people who want to get involved and bring their skills. And I'm so proud of the fact that in this climate, we're actually hiring. You know, we have great people coming on board, placements and full-time jobs. But, you know, I have to say it with a caveat, I can't promote that too much, because then you get inundated and we can't help everybody.
There is exactly right. Companies who are not us. Like,
exactly.
Go ahead.
What I'm hearing from you is really that hustling, looking for opportunities, so not just looking at the big kind of corporations, but looking at, you know, smaller companies and ways that you can add value or make a difference to those companies, but really looking at voluntary work. People often say to me, you know, is it exploitation or something like that? No, volunteering is really important, because you're learning from it as well, as long as you set the parameters that you are going to learn, that you're going to get something from it. But it's an amazing way to also demonstrate to that employer that they really should give you a good job. So there's nothing wrong with volunteering. It's a really, really important part of the search, especially when you're young and you have kind of the energy and time to do it. So yeah, volunteering, I think, is the way forward, because even in a climate like this, a company will always want to work with skilled people. It's just the terms that they can offer you. But if you add value to their business, they're not going to then turn you away later on.
definitely. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So the kind of conclusion is that, sorry, we've discussed it with the in our like working for free, or what was our topic couple of actually a month ago, I think already now. But like, there is opportunities for everyone. I think the key factor that separates people who get it and not is that just how much you want it. Because
Definitely.
because yeah, I mean, I can't say enough how important it is to reach out to people. Like, I think the quantity really matters. Like, you have an option to like DM on Instagram or email or message every single business you want to work with in your city. Just make a huge list of every business you would like to work with, and then just write to everyone. I guarantee that 1 out of 100, 200, or 300 will reply to you.
Yeah, and you've just got to focus on the positives, because this is an amazing time of change, of disruption, which, you know, that people are focusing on the negative side of it. But where there's this kind of change, there's so much opportunity, and you just need to hustle and find those opportunities for yourself. Get some experience if you can, or, you know, take an entrepreneurial route and look for ways that you can kind of enter the market.
Yeah. So regarding to our main question, I think it is the best and the worst year to take the gap year because of. I think it's very, very similar to every other kind of area or industry in life now. There is so much to win, as there's so much opportunities for winning, and there's so much actually where you can kind of a little bit fail or go wrong with. So it's all about what you make out of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think if you frame it as, you know, if you're going to go backpacking on a holiday for a year, bad time. I think really university, you know, will be a great option for you, probably better in that respect, because you're not going to lose any time. You can get on with your studies. You can use the summers to travel. You know, there's lots of holidays where you can take really good trips. So I think, you know, that option is the best in this circumstance. But if you're looking at opportunities to gain experience, to try and get voluntary experience, yeah, amazing time of disruption and change. So really good time to do that. If you, yeah, all of this with the caveat that if you want to go to a specific university next year, it could be harder to get in, whether they let you defer or whether you have to reapply. You have to imagine that the people who defer this year will be in competing for places with the people who come through next year. It is a kind of reality. And yeah, I'm excited. Generally, I'm excited about the university sector and the university term, because it's a great opportunity for them to be more efficient and change the student experience to adapt to the situation. And I've no doubt they'll do it, and I've no doubt that students will love it. So I'm really excited to see people back on campus and see how it all fits together, because I think it's going to change things for the better in many respects. And things like, you know, limitations on bars and things like that, these will lift as we know more about the virus and the medicine and the kind of the impact. These things are temporary. And yeah, if you're going on a degree, you know, social life, of course it's going to happen. It's just going to be evolving into a different thing.
Definitely. I fully agree. And yeah, I mean, it's always important to like put it to perspective as well, because it's just been like half a year now. Like, it's such a short time when you think about your kind of whole life.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of people, it's that time now, midsummer, you know, results aren't out yet, but most people have finished studying. They're missing their friends. They're missing their friends from university. And so people are in this kind of weird in between summer phase, and it's a strange kind of subdued vibe. But I think, yeah, come back to the autumn, it's going to be people are going to be excited, and there's going to be a lot of good things happening. Whether you decide to try and have a break or whether you go to university, you can make it work both ways.
Yeah, and I would suggest, like, whatever you are doing, then just be confident about it, because the reality is that no one really knows what's happening. So you can't, as much as we want, like, you like ask our help and get our opinions. I mean, no one fully knows what's happening. So just be confident, and whatever you do, just do it confidently, and then you will succeed, highly likely.
Well said. And it allows us to sit perfectly on the fence here.
It does, because confidence does help.
So I think we're wrapping this up, but if you do have questions, or you still need advice about your options of either deferral or applying for this year or next year, then please get in touch. We're more than happy to help on an individual basis. Hopefully this has kind of been, food for thought to kind of consider your options here. But please get in touch with us using email or any of our social media channels. We have a website form as well to make formal inquiries, and it's busy. There are a lot of inquiries daily at the moment, and we're loving it, because we really get to know the students and the applicants and what's on their mind, and then try and reflect it through on things like this.
Definitely, and check out our Medium, because we're basically writing about the situation of the industry, what's happening in the world, and we are reacting really quickly, like sometimes on a hourly basis. Like when news come out, we try to bring the news to you in a very kind of easy to consume way, and we're always looking to like collaborate with new people. As Nick said in the beginning of this live, we are students, kind of helping students, and we are empowering students. So we're giving a lot of students opportunities to work with us, and we're always looking for different creators, different makers who can make art. So whether you're a video person, you can write really well, or you can draw or make art, we are always looking people to be part of our amazing marketing machine. So definitely get in touch, whether myself personally on LinkedIn or anywhere, or just write us info@okstudent.co.uk.
Martin and the machine. I like it. What I love about this stuff, oh no, this way. No, is that, as you've just said, all of the blog writers and all of our marketing creatives and all of our advisors here in the UK are all students. They're all demonstrating their skills, giving you real advice, and kind of just speaking from the heart. And that's what I love about it. That's what you guys need. So if you want to be part of that and have a platform to write or create, please get in touch. We'd love to work with you. If you need help, or you want to kind of read real insight, real advice, just start consuming this stuff, because it's there for you.
Awesome. We can cut quite many like call to actions from this end.
I think all you're going to get is me going like this and going da da da. All right. So have a great weekend.
Friday.
I'm diving back into the inbox now. I can see them coming up here in my computer screen. So please get in touch if you need to. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. And we'll see you in less than 1 week. 6 days and 23 hours.
Thursdays and Fridays. Let's go. Right. Have a great weekend. Bye.